All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is your favorite dark sorcerer here, Michael Hyson, aka Angelus, son of Abaddon. And today is a whole new day. It is 12:01 a.m. 12/23, 2019. Just a few days away from the black eclipse of the full moon, the new moon, to be precise, on the 26th, and most importantly, the waxing moon on the 27th and 28th. All right. So I was talking with a brother of mine who lives about a state or two away, and we were discussing curses. We were discussing past afflictions and basically emotion. And it's something that I've been discussing and thinking about recently with a lot of things. So tonight, I thought I would discuss something that happened recently. Okay. At work, it's been very tight, financially speaking, but I've been watching a lot of Sumner Stridwood's videos, specifically spiritual warfare. I've been breaking it down. I've been researching and contemplating, meditating even on each segment of his words from the different attacks that can befall a practitioner of dark sorcery. And today, I was contemplating yesterday. Friday into Saturday, there was a infernal rage that was really coming over me. And I didn't understand it until I started rewatching Spiritual Warfare Volume 1 by Sumner Stridwood. And it dawned on me. And this is why. Saturday night, a brother of mine, a friend, and apprentice of mine sent me this week's schedule. And it was like this rage took place. And it was like this darkness befell me. And what was ironic about this is that I reached out to the ASM and the two team leads, and to him, my apprentice as well. And I mean, I was furious. And I didn't understand, I didn't really take the time to contemplate about why I was furious, why there was this infernal rage, this anger, this darkness within me and about me. I even turned off my phone for several hours until early this morning. Okay. I was still up about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, just checking messages, typing and posting. And I was reading the Book of Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. And I started thinking about memento mori, the death agents, such as masks, such as items like totems, like skulls and bones. Even though that leads into a different story with another friend of mine, follower and fellow dark arts practitioner in Wudang traditions. who ended up asking me a question about, as a necromancer, where can you find real human bones legally, specifically in the US or in the world? So I sent him a few of the links that I'm aware of and told him the last one was the best one out of all of them. Okay. Now, so, anyways, the cut to the chase. So I got to work. I was a couple of minutes late due to unforeseen issues, okay, which I'm not going to get into here. And my ASM, my assistant store manager, pulls me aside and asks, well, I know you need the hours, okay? I've got these two slots open later in the week. Which one would you like to have? And I said, I'll take this one. But while I was working the shift, I started realizing a term that Marcus Aurelius wrote. And we're talking a philosopher that's been dead for over 2,500 years. He was alive back in the Roman Empire, the very early stages, if not the middle era. And what's ironic about this was he was a senator. He was of noblehood. Hey, salute. So I started thinking about this one phrase: take away the excuse, and he will not have a reason to be wronged. Okay. And I just use my own words in this. Now, this is what's ironic about this, is because I started thinking about a movie by Antonio Banderas called Acts of Vengeance. It came out a few years ago. It's about an attorney who lost his wife and daughter to a murdering police officer. Ironically, we're seeing the same thing today in the real world, but with everything, throughout, with all the shootings and officer related shootings and all that stuff. So I found that kind of ironic as well. But but Saturday night, I came into my inner chamber. I lit the candles. I called all the beings that I worked with, and I started working with Zashira, the vile witch of the depths. Okay. And what was interesting about this was I just started talking to the gods. I started talking to the Blighten Lords. I started talking to the demons and the fallen angels and the draconic, the Draelit, the Sadi, the all the beings of death. And I really didn't call anybody specifically. And I kept asking questions, and I was watching the candle flames. Two candle flames just went nuts. I'm talking nuts. There's nothing here. There's no breeze. There's no nothing in these two candles out of 5. Just going nuts. 2 out of 5. And every time I started going a certain direction with my questions, they just got bigger and more vibrant. But when I started steering away from the right answers, I noticed they started dying down and becoming stagnant. Correct. Salute. Hey, Stevie Six. Welcome to the video. So, anyways, like I said, I got to work today. And I got pulled aside by my assistant store manager, and she mentioned that because of the holidays, things like this happen. It wasn't on purpose. So that left me wondering, where did this infernal rage come from? And why did I get so upset over my hours being cut that much? It would have left me with probably roughly about anywhere between 25 to $48 for the week. Now, how do you feed a family, three cats, put gas in the cars, and pay what's left of the rent on that? Okay? You really can't. So I started thinking about it. And it comes down to one thing: reflection and asking the right questions. Antonio Banderas said it best in that movie. You don't understand until you shut the fuck up and listen. Okay? So I started listening. Today I didn't really talk much. I didn't really associate much. I had a lot of people coming to me offering financial aid. I had people just communicating to me, just talking. I was listening to their conversations, and some of them were even in the same boat, coworkers even. So the question came down to asking the right question. So why did this happen? What could have prevented it? And what could you have done to change it? Okay. When we take the time to meditate upon any given issue, it is not to become emotionally endowed. Okay. Emotional stimuli can come in many different directions. And we look at all the agents involved, all the different characteristics of tools that can be deployed against a single practitioner. Hell, even if you're not a practitioner, you look at the tools and the way society has been built up and set up against the practitioner or the non practitioner, the mundane. And you're going to see a lot of the JCI influence in this. It doesn't matter if it's a Christian, it doesn't matter if it's a white light practitioner, it doesn't matter if it's a fellow black magician attacking you. Hell, it could just simply be the law of three, even karma. Things are going good, and now it's that flip side. But the point is this: if I had just simply sent a message detailing my situation to my ASM, she could have easily looked at the schedule, looked at the availabilities, and said, hey, I got these two slots open. But instead, I was thinking more of the offensive, the aspects, and seeing an enemy where there was none. So the question came down to, how do you make it right? That's right. This was done last night, Saturday night. Saturday night, the offering was made. The gift was given. And I kept it flowing for a good 10 minutes. Because I kept asking, what? You want more blood? You want more participation. You want more action. What is it that I need to do to have these doors open? What is it that I need to do to make it happen? Am I the only one fulfilling my end of the deals, the packs? Or are you dropping it, the ball? And I put this petition out to every being that I've worked with. And it wasn't until I calmed down and started seeing reason that I stopped being emotional about it, stopped seeing the rage and the hatred towards an enemy that didn't exist. It was just an honest mistake due to the time of the year. But you also look at what's been going on over the last week, what's been going on this week, what is happening. Number one, this Wednesday is Christmas. Christmas Eve is this Tuesday night. There's a lot of financial strain on just about everyone because of the time of the year. Hours are being slashed, people are losing money due to this time of the year. But here's the kicker: the new moon, the black eclipse, takes place on the 26th, the day after Christmas. This means that what's happening within our world, within our lives as practitioners, is not only solar, but it's planar, it's planetary. Okay? And then the day after is the waxing, or I should say the waning moon. The waning moon is when you're going away from the full moon. You're on the darker aspects of it. And in this case, I've realized I'm not the only one. Tonight at work, I saw a coworker get yelled at by a customer that she was trying to help out and to get things going right. When she went out back, she kicked a concrete block and it went rolling. I mean, it went a good far distance across the back room, right up onto the shoe, and was sitting there. That emotion can be utilized for ritual, but you have to be smart about it. You have to understand that certain rituals, certain rites can be done at certain times of the lunar cycle. Anything doing prosperitous work, like, say, lust rituals or finding love, is good for the waxing moon. Full moon is great. The full moons are great for working any form of magic. Okay, I'm talking changes, things that are going to change or that you desire to change, like, say, financially, dealing with perhaps housing, dealing with matters unique to every individual. That's what a full moon is made for. Now, and this is known as a compassion ritual, okay? Compassion ritual, lust rituals, and destruction rituals, okay? And the latter half of the moons are really for destruction, okay? devastation, ridding yourself of certain influences that are baneful to your world, okay, to your existence, your vital existence, okay? When we talk about Anton Szandor LaVey, for an example, he spoke of psychic vampirism. Now, what is psychic vampirism? Psychic vampirism is when you have what is known as leeches, people who latch onto you, people who use you without giving anything back. Okay, they can sit there and lie to you and lie to you and lie to you. Okay, they'll use you much like an insurance company. Okay, you've seen the commercials where you got the guy with the band-aid over the nose while the other guy's driving, and he's down there, and all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, what's this do? And it's like the brake cable lets go, and you get into an accident. Well, these psychic leeches, these psychic vampires are just that. They will destroy your life. They will, out of jealousy, out of rage, and out of spite, you know. And the phrase that I mentioned earlier by Marcus Aurelius, I actually posted this on a guy's page, okay, right on the main feed of Facebook, because of the fact that he was so sick and tired of being attacked. He was so worried about his page being blocked or shut down again. You know, a sister of mine, Serpentine, you know, she's got a lot going on. And I mean a lot. Okay? It's amazing that she is even on her feet with the amount of pressure, the amount of stress, sorrows, strenuous intentions surrounding her family. Okay? But she is a Satanist, and she will prevail just like her husband will prevail. It doesn't matter what rituals or how many rituals you perform. She has been attacked numerous times. She's been blocked multiple different times on Facebook. Okay? Because somebody got a stick across their ass about her photos, about her postings. Okay? And I personally know what that's like because I've been attacked myself several times in the past in just the same manner. Except for I got smart about it. I sent back to Facebook and said, hey, review again. And within about 6 to 7 hours, that post was back up running. And they found nothing wrong with it. And I find that very, very interesting. True. My point is this, though. If you take the time in any given situation, step back, use tarot cards, cartomancy, ask the right questions, meditate on the answers. You you may have issues in your life, things that are challenges. But if you look at them as challenges, and instead of attacking, there is a time and a place for it. That is true. So if you take the time to use cartomancy, ask, shuffle the deck, cast them out there, ask the questions repeatedly, find out what you can do, what's going on. Get to the root of the questions. And one of the things I told a brother of mine is you must first be honest and open with yourself. Who are you? What are you about? I know what I'm about, and I know who I am. I know my own personal reputation, and I know what I've done and things that I've done to get to where I am today, the things that I've sacrificed, the things I'm willing to sacrifice to get to where I want to be. But I'm also not a physical warrior anymore. I'm an elder. I'm a sage, sorcerer, necromancer. Some refer to me as the Black Pope. Some say I'm in I'm on a contest with another Satanist for the position. The thing is I don't care about titles. I don't care about offices. For me, it's about the knowledge. It's about the practices and the arts. But when things rise up and the tail becomes the serpent's mouth, the head of the serpent, sometimes you're not prepared for what can transpire. Even though it is nice to have those challenges and those surprises from time to time, you really need to take that step back and focus on the situation. Begin asking questions, trying to figure out why it happened and how it can be prevented in the future. You see, because it took me by surprise and I was quick to anger, accusations. Thank you for destroying my family's life. That was childish. And it was one of those things that took me by surprise, to which I did not stop and think about all the applications and tools at my fingertips. The tools of a black magician, a sorcerer. These things are what we use. Cartomancy, runes, Ouija boards, astral projection, evocations and invocations, working with the Blighten Lords, working with demons, working with the Jinn, Ugan, Loa, the old gods, the demigods. Okay, these are all people right here, things that humanity has forgotten because they're so, at least in my opinion, they would rather live in subdivisions. Behemoth X is a very good practitioner to which I recommend to a lot of people. He's a very good practitioner and I love his work. How you doing, Joseph? It's an honor to have you here. So when we use the tools that we're given, the things that we learn over the years, it doesn't matter if you're going by tradition or going and learning as you go. You're going to build tools, methods, things that work for you. Meditation visualization, divination play a huge part. Now, I could have done that over the last 2 days, but I didn't because I was unfocused, tired, exhausted from the battles that I've been facing the last 3 to 4 days. The pain in my body. But here's the kicker. If I had used these tools, I would have known it wasn't on purpose. And I could have found out ways to get more hours. Now, thanks to my ASM, I got more hours because she went through everything today while she was at work and she found more hours. In fact, she found 2 shifts that she needed people for. Yeah. So that's on me, the way that I went about it. But you know what? Sitting there today during my shift, doing my job, but listening and observing my coworkers and all the customers that came into the store. A lot of them were pleasant. Wishing you, hey, have a good Christmas. Okay. Some just want their coffee. You know what I'm saying? They just want what they order on a daily basis. But then you got that 1% that just want to be douchebags. And while I was listening to the conversation between my coworkers about this customer, you got world hunger, war, people dying daily, diseases, and you're so hard up that you want to be a douchebag over a fucking $4 coffee? That's ridiculous. But you see my point. If people actually take the time to realize it's not you, it's them. You're responsible for your own actions. You're responsible for what you do. The insight into rites, into rituals, into any given situation can be handled by the tools we have at our fingertips. Do we need to take drastic measures like the mundane? No. All you need is what you know. So the 3 things that I would recommend to people is number 1, don't be ruled by emotion. Emotion's good during rituals. It really is. Specifically if that is one of, say, compassion, lust, or destruction. Expression magic, for an example. Very, very good, especially in the emotion, in the visual aspects. When you, how did Anton put it? Oh, right. Hate thy enemy with a whole heart. When struck on the left, smash him in the right. Okay? Now, if we don't take this as a physical blow to blow, and we contemplate it more in a spiritual or physical nature within the growth and maturity of the individual, look at it this way. Number 1, through meditation, you're balancing yourself. You're finding that clarity within. Number 2, through divination, such as runes, chiromancy, cartomancy, asking the questions through spiritual conjuration of either evocation or invocation, depending if you want them to physically manifest or to manifest within yourself in a state of possession. Asking the right questions will get you the answers that you seek. Sometimes you're going to have to do it multiple times over days, sometimes hours. But you'll get to those answers, especially with cartomancy. The more cards you lay down, the bigger the puzzle is revealed. But sometimes you're going to have to do 4, 5, maybe 10, 20 different readings in any given setting just to locate the right answers to the questions that you seek about the ailments afflicting you. And finally, how you act, how you present or approach these issues says a lot about you. 98% of the time, if not 99% of the time, I'm more logical than emotional. But on occasion, something catches you by surprise. And that's exactly what happened to me. But it's how you notice what's around you. That is how you lead yourself out of that. So my personal advice to you is look at your situation. Do your own research into it. Ask the right questions. Reflect upon the gnosis, the answers that you get. Look for the commonalities within them and see what you can do. But the biggest thing that you got to look at is your intent, your intention. What are you willing to do and how do you want to go about it? What do you want to happen? You remember in high school when they ask you, what do you see yourself in 5 years? Do a timeline. How would you know where you are today? How would you get to that goal? Take that ruler effect, inch by inch, until you get there. That is the exact same accommodation in magic. Any magical working. You measure it out. You find the best path to go through. Could be the light of Lucifer, the revealer of truth, heir of enlightenment. It could be the path of individuality, Belial. It could be one of senatorships. It could be one of witchcraft, sorcery, such as with the Astaroth. Perhaps working with necromancy and death, such as Circe or that of Hecate. These things within any given working builds relationships, trust, and insight. But you got to be the one to follow it. All right? Well, salute. There are a lot of books on necromancy out there. But there was a book that came out back in, I want to say 2011, I think. It was called The Book of Tarot, and it was by, I want to say, Joan Bennett. I'll send you the photo of it tomorrow morning. or later this morning. I just got to locate it real fast. But yeah, it's a very good book, and I do recommend that you get it. It really touches on things that most practitioners and authors don't get into. For an example, the different card placements. It doesn't matter the card placements. It doesn't matter the amount of cards or how you lay them down. It's what you get from them. Okay. But there's a couple of good books that I would recommend to you. Now, personally, the Masonic approach was one that I always avoided because of the fact that the Masonic were a lot like the JCI. To me, they were more controlling, more adept. It was kind of like the hermetic or the the Kaplothic aspects of suppression. Okay, it's okay to do black magic, but when working with demons, you gotta force them to do your will. Me, no, I will not force a demon to obey me. I will not force or threaten them. I will work with them as equals, as friends. And I do concur with you. But yeah, I've been thinking, like I said, I've been thinking about this stuff over the last 24 to 48 hours since all that rage came forth. Perhaps it was the rage of Belial. I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe it's the black alchemy of Beelzebub. Maybe it's something that needed to be let out, destroyed, even quelched by Pazuzu. But it's things that you got to work on your own. You got to identify the symptoms, ask the questions. And that's something I really think is a good thing, including Lord Zazazel, the buried king. And as you and I were discussing earlier, the different things of defeating an enemy that's terrorizing you. Curses can help, but I would recommend going through the legal system first and doing everything you need to do there first. Only then should you turn to black magic, where no other options are accessible or working. But with everything going on in my life, I think the path is unfolding the way it should. But for the rest of you, this is my advice. Reflect, meditate, ask the right questions. To ask the right questions, you got to reflect upon your issues. To find the issues, you got to be honest with yourself. Christopher Penziak, his third book, The Temple of Shamanic Witchcraft, very, very enlightening when dealing with the mind, psychology. Very, very intriguing. Recommend his work too. It's all gnosis, all knowledge, with few exercises, no rituals, just exercises. That's all he puts forth, and they work. It's but the Mazajira Cabal system, specifically that of necromancy, that's something that I found very, very good. It was something that really helps me. especially in my work with demonolatry, blood sorcery, and a few other things, which I will not get into here because I got things going on. But yeah. But for now, I'm going to call this a night. I wanted to get under here and just kind of just let you know that no matter what you're going through, if you take the time to think, take that step back, look at the situation from every direction, perform whatever you need to do legally, and if nothing comes from that, turn to black magic, dark sorcery. But here's the kicker. Understand this. Not everything has a magical outcome. Sometimes it's a physical. Sometimes it's psychological or emotional. Other times, it's pure sorcery. And that's the one thing I like about some of Dreadwood's books. The Mazajira Cabal system is that they deal on all levels. Anybody who's ever read Profane Seals can see what I'm talking about there. Specifically, that of the three main conscious states: emotion, psychological, spiritual. Okay? Andrew Womack did a book. For a Christian, he was a genius when it came to the three aspects of the self: the mind, body, and soul. Sorcerer Cagliostro named the soul the Ka. Okay? Because, and I never really understood that part until I got into the Mazajira Cabal system. And this is why. A lot of the rituals and rites is through the will of the soul, the individual spirit. At least in my experiences so far, it is really about the soul and expanding it to become more, to shape your reality. Mastering yourself within a state of evolution. But at the other end, you're dealing with conscious stuff, subconscious, natural, and supernatural. You're dealing with everything from the soul to the spirit to the magical and to the physical. Very, very good works. I recommend it. Look into them because they play a huge part in our day-to-day lives. So with that said, have a good night. I want to thank everybody for jumping on here with me. And I hope that you look at the spiritual warfare videos, part 1, 2, and 3 by Sumnus Dreadwood himself. All right? Take notes, break them down. I know some of us are not writers, others are writers, some are note takers, and others just learn by listening, whereas others learn by doing. Do what works for you. But remember, we're all learning, no matter what degree, rank, or how many years we've been in the traditions. We're always learning. Agios Satanas, my friends, and have a good night.